Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you know, everything you believe to be real, just might be a lie. Not because of deception from a person or government, but because reality itself isn't what it seems. This is not science fiction. This is the simulation theory. The simulation theory proposes that our universe, our world, and even our individual experiences are part of a highly sophisticated digital simulation. It has been theorized that perhaps the simulation is run by an advanced civilization or possibly our future descendants. It's a concept that has been discussed by philosophers, scientists, and tech moguls alike. But what if there are signs that simply cannot be ignored? What if there are glitches in the code that are becoming more and more visible? Today, we explore those glitches, the cracks in the digital walls of our reality. So before we move forward with this story, please hit the subscribe button so you can follow along with us and get notified for more stories. The Mandela Effect is named after Nelson Mandela, the former South African president. In the early 2000s, many people around the world vividly recalled seeing news reports that Mandela had died in prison in the 1990s. But history tells a different story. Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990 and actually passed away in December of 2013. Strangely, there is a passage in a South African history book confirming that Mandela actually did die about a year and a half after he was released from prison. This book gives his date of death as July 23, 1991. The book is quoted as saying, "The chaos that erupted in the ranks of the ANC when Nelson Mandela died on the 23rd day of July 1991 brought the January 29th Inkatha ANC peace accord to nothing." It seems odd for a South African author to be mistaken about Mandela's death, but it's even harder to fathom how the editor of this professional journal would not catch such a huge error. How did this happen? This wasn't an isolated incident. Numerous people misremembered his death together. Millions of people, all with the same false memories, all recounted in the same disturbing detail. What's even more unsettling is this isn't the only example of this happening. The Berenstain Bears versus the Berenstain Bears. This is another example of millions of people remembering the spelling of the bear's last name to be Berenstein, as opposed to the correct spelling of Berenstein. They swear the books and video covers all use the spelling of Berenstain with an E, though that is clearly not the case. How did so many of us get this wrong? Do you remember the child actress Shirley Temple? Did she die as a child or at the age of 85? It depends on who you ask. A good number of people swear the child actor died quite young, but in reality, she died at the ripe old age of 85. Remember watching Looney Tunes as a kid? Were you like me hoping that Sylvester would get to take a bite out of Tweety Bird at least once? Or that Wile E. Coyote would catch that annoying Roadrunner? Were you also like me in swearing that Toons was spelled Toons instead of Tunes? If so, you're wrong, along with millions of other people. Turns out it's spelled Tunes. This one's for all you peanut butter fans out there. Do you remember the brand of peanut butter as being Jif or Jiffy? A good number of people remember it being called Jiffy. Were they mixing this up with the peanut butter brand of Skippy? Or did millions of people have a different experience than everyone else? Or was there a glitch in reality? Did you watch the Disney movie Snow White as a child? When the evil stepmother looks into the mirror, what exactly does she say? I remember it as "mirror, mirror on the wall," but many others remember it as "magic mirror on the wall." Who is right? Not me, apparently. It turns out that she says "magic mirror on the wall." This one bugs me. One of my favorite games is Monopoly. I've played it a million times. I distinctly remember the Monopoly man wearing a monocle when he demanded I go directly to jail. However, apparently, I'm misremembering. Turns out he doesn't wear a monocle and never has since the game was invented back in the 1930s. If Monopoly isn't your thing, what about Pokemon? Does Pikachu's tail have a black tip or not? Once again, apparently I, along with millions of others, have a faulty memory. I was absolutely certain the Pikachu had a black-tipped tail, but that is not the case. This one is for all you Star Wars fans out there. When Luke Skywalker was learning about his lineage, did Darth Vader say, "Luke, I am your father," or no, I am your father. Turns out a lot of people get this wrong too. While myself, along with millions of others, swear he addressed Luke by name, it turns out he did not. How did so many of us get this wrong? These aren't simple memory lapses. These are shared distortions consistent across millions of people. In the simulation theory framework, these are considered patches or updates, adjustments to the code that cause small ripple effects, like a software bug. Have you ever experienced a moment that felt uncannily familiar, like you've lived it before? Or have you ever went somewhere that you know you've never been, yet somehow you remember everything around you? That's known as déjà vu, and in simulation theory, it's not just your brain misfiring. It's a momentary desync, a repeated frame in the code, a memory leak, a sign that the simulation is cycling back, momentarily repeating a line of experience. More intense and disorienting versions of this include predicting a phrase someone is about to say, repeating events that feel eerily identical, feeling like time glitched, hours disappear or slow down. These could be signs of a memory overwrite, a system recalibration, or simply the simulation struggling to stay coherent under pressure. Sometimes the simulation slips up. There are hundreds of reports, many backed by video evidence, of reality behaving in impossible ways. Planes suspended midair without movement. This phenomenon is never experienced by passengers, only by observers on the ground. People or objects disappearing or reappearing abruptly. Someone is there, then they are gone, yet there is absolutely nowhere they could have conceivably went. In a simulated environment, these are interpreted as rendering errors. Just like in video games, sometimes an object doesn't load correctly or clips through another. Have you ever walked down a street and felt like everyone around you was acting? Like they were there, but not really there? Some believers in simulation theory talk about NPCs, non-playable characters, entities that look like people but aren't conscious players. They follow scripts, repeat behaviors, but lack spontaneity. This theory becomes unsettlingly believable during moments of societal pause, such as global lockdowns. Entire cities went quiet. People disappeared. The world felt paused. Could these possibly be moments when the simulation reduces activity to save processing power? Have you ever noticed numbers repeating in your life? Like always looking at the clock at 11:11? Have you met someone at the exact moment you were thinking about them? Or have you ever picked up something from a table, put it away, then walked by moments later to find it back on the table, and you're the only one home? These are called synchronicities. Carl Jung thought of them as meaningful coincidences. But in a simulation, they might be signs that reality is algorithmically responding to you. Are we really making choices? Or is the illusion of choice just a core part of the programming? Is this meant to distract us from the fact we're merely players in the video game called life? From the Mandela Effect to Deja vu, from time loops to glitched physics, more and more people are beginning to suspect that reality is not what it appears to be. Simulation theory doesn't claim to have all the answers, but it asks the most dangerous question. What if everything we experience is artificial? What if you are merely a player in someone else's video game, some alien teenager's fun pastime? If we're willing to accept that we're in a simulation, then we have to ask the uncomfortable question, who wrote the code? Do you remember Pikachu as having a black tip on his tail? Are you certain Mr. Pennybags had a monocle? Tell us about your memories or experiences that don't seem to coincide with reality. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.